What are the feelings, emotions ahead of a pivotal Game 7 like this for today?
Yeah, it's a good mix of nerves, excitement. This is what it's all about. So we're ready for the moment.
Other questions for Ernie? Yes, we'll get you the microphone.
You guys played really well with the Shohei last one. How difficult or easy for you guys to facing again, like in a few days?
It definitely helps that we've faced him. Going in there after never facing him is really difficult. He's a really, really good pitcher, and we're just going to have to do what we do and grind him out and capitalize on any mistakes that he makes.
Yes, Gabe.
Hey, Ernie, how you doing? This postseason of yours, obviously, it's not a 162-game sample, but it's also not small. The way you've performed this October, November, what might you take forward from that, just from a confidence standpoint and everything else as you continue on in your career?
Yeah, it's something I can learn from every step of this journey is something I can take away and learn and use it going forward. So, any failures, any successes are all learning curves, and it's a great experience being able to play in the postseason and have some success and have some failures at the same time. So, just definitely going to use that going forward.
Last row to your right, Ernie.
Ernie, after that 18-inning loss, I remember IKF saying, you had a hard time, sleeping at night, thinking of all the little plays that didn't work out and made the game go their way. Can you draw anything from that 18-inning loss, which was devastating at the very end, to use that after yesterday's game and bounce back today and just forget about it?
Yeah, it's a similar feeling.
Yeah.
It really is. At the end of the day, you got to win one baseball game. It's the mindset we've taken the whole postseason, and it's really worked for us. So we show up today, we do our jobs, and kind of let everything take care of itself.
First row to your left, Ernie. Ron.
How, after this is over, would you like this Blue Jays team to be defined in people's minds?
Yeah, I think, no matter how tonight goes, this is the most fun I've ever had playing baseball. It's the tightest group I've ever been a part of. So, win or lose, we have a lot to be thankful for and a lot to, hang our heads on. So, I think when we win, it'll be a really special. It'll be a special feeling just because of all the ups and downs. You get to play with, 30 of your best friends, and I don't think that happens every year. So, in a way, you don't want it to end. But we're just gonna enjoy it. It's one last game with my favorite team I've ever been a part of. So, it's win or lose. It's been a hell of a year.
Right up front, Ernie. Bob.
Ernie, in the postseason, why isn't the home field advantage a big advantage? You guys won 2 in L.A., Dodgers won 2 here. Your Seattle series. Why is that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, I guess. But we have the best fan base in baseball, and it's gonna be really fun to play in front of them one last time.
And right behind Bob, Rosie.
Hi, Ernie. What are the main qualities of this team that allowed it to blend together so well and gave you the faith that you had in it coming out of spring training?
It's just a blend of really, really good human beings. I think that's just what it boils down to. It's a bunch of unselfish guys who have just got really, really close and learned to play for each other. And it's really easy to play for the guy next to you when you have a personal relationship with him, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to have his back. So it's through and through in our clubhouse.
Standing straight back, Mike.
Hey, Ernie, this is, as we just heard from you, this is a group I know that you take a lot of pride in and is really close. Does it register for you that the whole discussion, it feels like, around the baseball world about this World Series is just the Dodgers? And what they're doing and why they're doing and why this is, going to Game 7, and as opposed to shining a spotlight on this team. It feels like you're not just the underdog, but it in the coverage, it feels like you guys have kind of been ignored even this far into the series.
They have a great team. There's no denying it. They're one of the best teams probably ever, put together. And we've taken them to 7 games, so that's got to say something about us. But we're fine with that. We're fine with, kind of flying under the radar. It's happened all year, so it's nothing we're new to. And, they get a lot of press, rightfully so. They're, like I said, they're a great team. But, I'd take the guys in our clubhouse any day of the week.
Second row, your left, Ernie.
Hi, Ernie. So we all know that you and all the guys in the Blue Jays clubhouse didn't want to come and play today, but how exciting is it to play in a Game 7 at the World Series?
Yeah, it's what you dream of as a kid. I've played in quite a few Game 7s in my backyard over the years, so it's going to be a lot of fun. It's why I play the game. It's everything I've dreamed of. It's a chance to win a World Series is, not everybody gets to say that, so we're going to enjoy that.
Last row on your left.
Did
Shy.
you sleep well last night?
No, God, no. No, I didn't get any sleep. I think I maybe slept an hour or two. And I got here a little extra early, so I couldn't wait to get to the field today. I just one more day to hang with the boys and get everything we got. So, I didn't sleep at all.
On the last row on your left, Shy.
Hey, Aaron. Given what you just said before about the closeness of this team, the way you guys play for each other, what wider lessons would you want the team to draw from the way that you guys built that? Is there something that you think is applicable year to year in terms of creating the environment you have?
Yeah, 100%. I think, and it didn't start this year. It started in years past with, great players and great people that have been in this organization who have, began a culture. And I think, moving forward in spring trainings when you got everybody together all through the minor leagues and all staff members, like it is truly a culture that we've built and we're really, really proud of. And that I think, anyone who comes up is going to be just ingrained in the culture that we've created because it's like you see Trey come up. He just got drafted last year, and he has just fit in right away. It's guys who've come up from Buffalo all season and done their job, to the best of their ability. It's been amazing. Every single guy who is in our lineup, walks in our clubhouse is ready to roll. And I'm confident that this isn't just going to be this year. It's going to be years to come.
What are the key ingredients you feel that need to be carried over year to year?
I keep saying, the character, the types of people that are, brought into this organization, and it's no accident that, all the guys at the trade deadline are, really, really solid individuals. They're not just good baseball players. So I think our front office deserves all the credit in the world for putting together a team and an organization of great people. And I think that will absolutely continue.
Third row on your left, Ernie.
Hi, I'm just wondering what it means to you to be representing Canada's team. I mean, these fans have really never lost hope throughout this postseason run for you guys, and for good reason. But yeah, how do you kind of keep that extra pressure, I guess, in check during a Game 7 like this?
Yeah, it's a privilege, I think. I was walking into the stadium today, and I got tapped on the shoulder. It was a guy who's like, "Hey, I came in from Vancouver. Like, I flew last night to come see this. Like, good luck." Just so kind and just with so much support. He's like, "I wouldn't miss this for the world." And, he had a pillow with him. And I'm like, dude, like, did you just, like, sleep on the ground last night just so you could watch this game? And it was amazing to see, like, that's just, like, one small example of the incredible support throughout the whole nation of Canada. So I have zero negative interactions with anyone in this entire country since I've been here, which is just mind-blowing to me. Like, everyone has just been so cool and nice and welcoming and so supportive. So it is truly an honor to play for this country.
Anything else for Ernie? Yeah, we'll go back to Mike.
Ernie, I know this is like a different hero every night team, and everybody contributes across the roster. But George having been here before, and Max having started the last World Series Game 7, have there been any? I don't know how big speechy you guys are, but has there been anything that one of your teammates has said to the group that has really sat with you, that has really like shocked you? I can't believe this guy said that. That was awesome. Something like that.
There's been a few. There's been a few. I guess I don't want to say rah speeches, but what I think is so special about this team is that we don't need any of that. We show up to the ballpark and know what our job is, and we trust that every single guy's on the same page. So, apart from a few, great George Springer speeches or, Chris Bassett speeches throughout the season, once the playoffs have started, like, we show up and are ready to roll, and it's just a trust thing. We trust that every single guy's ready to do their job. We don't need any of that.
And I guess, this is it, right? You can't afford to think beyond tonight's game, but has the finality of it all hit you yet? Like, this is it for baseball this year?
Yeah, I mean, I was walking out of the stadium last night, and it kind of hit me, and I took a second to just kind of look out at the field and kind of try to soak it in, because it's been a special year, no doubt about it. But I think it's, once we step on that field tonight, I think it'll really set in that, hey, this is it. You better leave it all out there. But it's it'll hit at some point.
One last one for Ernie. There is. All right, Ernie. Well, thank you for everything throughout October and now November. We'll see you later.
It must not have been easy for Ernie and Addison the way the game ended yesterday. What can you tell us about the veterans in that locker room and what they can do for those guys in order to make sure that they come out today and play the baseball that they're able to play to help you guys win and not be a little bit gun shy?
Yeah, we've been doing that all year. Starts with the veteran guys, whether it's putting your arm around them or giving them a kick in the ass. Really, you know what I mean. They've been doing that all year. So last night was no different. Today was no different with how they're going about it, getting ready. And you have to flush it. You know what I mean? There's going to be a whole new set of circumstances and challenges that are going to happen today. But have all the confidence in the world that they're going to be ready for it.
Third row on your left, John. Rob.
Hey, John, were there any players today that had stood up and had a message for anybody?
Last night, not today. They always talk kind of throughout the day, but George said a few things last night about what she said all year. Just go play your game. It's another opportunity to just go play your game and out team another team. So you have to move on. I mean, this is 7 games for a reason. There's been storylines in every single game, you know what I mean? So not really focus on that, focus on what we got to do today.
And with Shohei Ohtani, what are the challenges, and how unique are the challenges of preparing for him, whether it be as a hitter or a pitcher?
Yeah, different, I mean, I think you got to treat him as such, you know what I mean? Like, our pitchers get ready for the hitter, our hitters get ready for the pitcher. It's unique that he's doing both, right? But I think that these guys are really good at just focusing on one thing. So our hitters will be ready to focus, and compete against the pitcher, and our pitchers will be ready to compete against the hitter. You know what I mean? But it's unique what he does for sure.
Standing in the left corner, Chelsea.
Hey, John, I'm curious what the process of planning your pitching for a day like this is. Are you guys meeting, scratching out notes, like what if, or like what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to what we do every day, really. Game 7, obviously a little bit different. There's a few more roadmaps to kind of, hammer out, but it's it starts with Max. You gotta kind of see what he's doing, see how hitters are reacting. There's definitely certain guys that we want to face certain parts of their lineup, and you got to just figure out when those spots come up. Again, man, these guys are the ones that are going to go execute the pitches. So I know there's so much focus on pitching in Game 7. I don't want to let that be the overall theme. Yeah, it seems to be, but I think we have to just continue to find ways to score too. So I look at it as like a team effort, not so much exactly a pitching effort.
Last row straight ahead, Mike.
John, Addison doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would let a play linger with him. But does moving him up in the lineup, does that help give him a bit of a boost going into today?
I don't know. Ask him. I think he's really good at just going out and playing. I'm just watching the way he's swinging the bat, and I think he's having really, really competitive at bats. So if that gives him a little, I talked to him briefly after the game and just reiterated my confidence in him. So I think that's all he really needs, if he even needs that. So I'm just kind of watching his at bats right now.
And as far as Ohtani goes, I guess in the starting on short rest, which means he's probably not going to be around long. You faced that same thing in your last Game 7, where you knew the Mariners were just going to throw everybody at you. Is that how you're preparing for the Dodgers, and how much does that experience a week and a half ago help with that?
Yeah, I think that's probably their plan, and I'm sure Doc has guys that he trusts in certain spots, and I think you just have to react to the situation. It's impossible to predict what is going to happen a few innings down the road. So I think just looking at each spot and the importance of each spot, really, if you're going to make a move or if you're not. So, but we're expecting everyone for them to be ready.
Seated in the right corner, John.
John, you're giving Max the ball for Game 7. What have you learned about him? You would have seen him from afar for a long time. What have you learned about him? Maybe you didn't know, and what's he meant to this group?
I've learned a lot I didn't know about him. I think when this series started, we told him it was Game 3. He immediately said, "Okay, so 3 and 7." So he's been preparing for this since the start of the series. What he's meant to this group has been a lot, not just from a pitching standpoint. I think from a like a culture standpoint, and not being afraid to share his opinion, not being afraid to have tough conversations, not being afraid to raise the expectations that are here, whether it's with a hitter or a pitcher. So he's competitive as anyone I've ever seen. He really supports his teammates. I think you guys saw that when Trey was pitching in LA. But he's been awesome for us. I think that personality is kind of something that we needed this year. And you trust him in spots like this, because I walked past him last night after the game, and it looked like he was ready to kill somebody. So, that's kind of where he's at. So you trust him to be ready for this environment.
The third row on your right, Tyler.
John, Jeff Hoffman's been terrific all postseason. What have you seen from him that has him on top of his game, and is he like a 2-inning option if it presents itself?
Yeah, definitely multi-inning option, as are a lot of guys. But I think Hoff he's pitching. It's life of a closer is really hard. There's ups and downs, but I think he's pitching. He's locating well. He's sequencing well, and that's a sign of a really good pitcher. It's one thing to do it, but then to do it in kind of like the biggest moments, is another thing. But I just think he's executing at a pretty high rate right now.
Second row on your left, John.
Hi, John. Have you looked back at the decision of intentionally walking Shohei Ohtani yesterday?
Yeah.
And do you think that maybe you should have pitched at him?
Yeah. It's a tough question, because in those spots, if he hit a 2-run homer, the opposite question comes. Why the hell did you pitch to him with the base open? So I think we talked about it before the series started. If there's a chance to take the bat out of his hands, you do it. And when you're convicted in a decision, you do it and you leave it behind. You know what I mean? So it's tough because they have really good hitters behind them, So I didn't lose any sleep over that one, you know what I mean, because of the caliber of player he is. And in this situation, like I said, that exact question would have been presented differently if the outcome was different.
I'll go to Gabe in the second row up front.
You and Chris both mentioned how Max is very inquisitive and asking why and questioning a lot of things. On his start date, do those questions stop, and do you kind of appreciate the enhanced peace and quiet that might come on your end?
They kind of don't stop. You know what I mean? When he starts his prep and, how he's going to pitch and where he wants guys positioned behind him, it stops at a certain point. But it's probably still going on right now. He's still doing his work and doing his asking Pete, asking Kirky, asking other pitchers. But once that stops, I appreciate just the competitive nature that comes out. But I think that's why he is who he is. He's being curious is really, really important in this game, for everyone. And I think that's part of the reason why he's going to the Hall of Fame.
We can pass two down in that same row.
So Trey's part of the plan tonight, and he's got some experience with it, right?
Yeah, he did that in the minor leagues. Came out of the bullpen a couple times. He's definitely available, and just don't know when. We kind of have targeted spots of the lineup that we want him to face, and you got to kind of see when that is. It could be early, could be late, and I think it's cool that he's a little bit versed in it. Obviously different stage tonight than it is pitching in AAA. But I think he's shown he can handle it. So he'll be ready to go.
And the first row, John.
Thinking back, just how special was this season for you and the rest of the team?
Oh, good question, man. I think before you get locked in to this whole day, I think you have to kind of take a step back and reflect on what we've done, not just from a win-loss record or where we are in Game 7 of the World Series, but how we did it and the things that we got better at. We've raised the standard and expectation of this organization a hell of a lot this year. I think as a manager, you always want a team that any other team, any other coaching staff, any other person that is in the game, you can look at a team and say that's what they stand for and that's what is important to them. And I feel like we've accomplished that this year. So that's what I look at. There's so many moments throughout the regular season, postseason that you're going to remember forever. But the fact that this group, a huge group, players, coaches, front office, support staff, have taken the Toronto Blue Jays standard and expectation forward is something that I'm most proud about.
Up front of your left, Ron.
With Trey, would you try to bring him in at the start of an inning, or with the right matchup, would you consider bringing him in with men on base?
I'm going to try to give him a clean inning. I'm not so sure it's going to happen with anyone really tonight, but that would be ideal. You know what I mean? I think whenever a guy is used to starting an inning, you kind of want to do that with him, but I think he understands that may not happen tonight.
Third row on your right, Tyler.
John, a couple questions ago, you said something about that's what we stand for. That's what's important to us. What did you mean by that?
I think, whenever you're trying to build a winning organization that is sustainable and real, there's certain things that are important. I think with this team, it's cohesiveness, toughness, respect for the game, respect for your opponent, respect for your teammates. If you can have that, you're usually starting off in a good spot. And I think that that's what you try to do every year, and then it kind of just gets contagious year after year. So there's still things we can build on and get better at. But I think when you go about it the right way, when you are prepared and you play the game the right way, you play for your teammates, and you just respect what you're doing and how hard it is, I think that's what we wanted to establish, and I feel like we did that this year.
The two last ones, Jake in the back.
Springer in the leadoff spot tonight. How did he come through yesterday's game after missing 4 and 5 in LA from a health perspective?
Fine. There's probably some uncomfortable swings or movements, but he came through it fine. I thought his at-bats were fairly normal, and looking for him to have a moment, if you will. He's had a few of those in these settings, so I think he'll be tired tomorrow, no matter what the outcome is, but he'll be ready to go tonight.
And standing in the left, Jordan.
John, you talked a lot about the hitting group with Pop and Lou and Hunter. At what point during the season did you kind of realize how well that group was meshing, and what do each of those three kind of bring individually?
Spring training, to be honest with you. And I think they're a good trio of personalities. The way they communicate to players, they're all a little bit different, but they all know their strengths. I think the biggest thing was defining their roles, with a lot of clarity to start the season and having them really dive into that. I think that's just an easier way to work. I think that we could have done a better job of that in years past. So I think them understanding kind of what they are responsible for has been really important, and they all bring energy. I mean, endless energy, endless prep, endless content it seems like at times, but the way that they kind of, they're aware of what they're good at too, you know what I mean? And they're not afraid to ask for help. And it's worked out really well.
All right, John, thanks so much. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you, guys.